G'day, welcome back. I'm Dr. Howe. I'm going to be talking about Babylon 5 today. I'm going to talk about another rumour about Babylon 5. Now, this is something, when I say rumour, I think it's probably not real, probably not true, just someone on the internet having an idea. In this case, I think it's an interesting idea and I just want to discuss it. The idea goes something like this. The pilot episode for the Babylon 5 reboot will feature a character called Jeffrey Sinclair. And Jeffrey Sinclair is in charge of the new Babylon 5 station that's only just become operational. But the character of Jeffrey Sinclair, unfortunately, that character dies very early on in the pilot episode. And as a result of this, the character John Sheridan is assigned to take charge of Babylon 5. Now, it's an interesting idea. It kind of works in many ways, and I just want to spell out why I think this is an interesting idea. Firstly, it's in keeping with the character of Jeffrey Sinclair. He's someone who, when we saw him as the commander of Babylon 5 in the very first season of the original series, he had a bit of a, well, I don't know if death wish is the right term. He had survivor guilt from being on the Battle of the Line, which was the last-ditch effort to try and stop the Minbari from destroying Earth. And so he saw a lot of people die in that battle, and so he's got survivor guilt. And so he puts his life on the line a lot in the first series of the show. So it would be totally in keeping of him to see a situation where he needs to step in, maybe he needs to save some people, and so he just does it. He just jumps in and saves those people, and as a result, he dies. That would totally make sense. That would totally be in keeping with the character of Jeffrey Sinclair. But what would happen as a result of that is that basically everything could be different. This would be a way of rebooting the show and making everything different from that point onwards. And let me explain why I think that could happen. So firstly, it gets John Sheridan into the show much earlier on. He takes over the station, he moves to Babylon 5, takes on the reins there. His wife, Anna Sheridan, comes with him, turns down a role on the Icarus, which is going to go out and explore the Rim. So she's on Babylon 5 instead, right from the get-go. He meets Delenn, who is part of the Minbari Federation that are co-funding the Babylon project. And Delenn is distraught. She thinks she's talking about the prophecy being invalid or false now. The path forward is unclear. And this, doesn't make a lot of sense to Sheridan. So she's having a crisis of faith now in what's going on, and she must try to find a way forwards there. If you bring in the character of Sheridan early enough, maybe there are no other ambassadors apart from Delenn there. And so it might be the task in the pilot to actually get everyone else on board to make sure that the whole thing doesn't just collapse. The Minbari, of course, wouldn't be happy that Sheridan's been put in charge. They might try to come in and blow up the station. Like, there's all kinds of things you could do with this storyline. But one of the things is that then maybe you've got to get the Vorlon ambassador on board to try and rescue the whole situation. And if you get the Vorlon on board, maybe that would change who gets sent as an ambassador from the other empires, from the Narn and from the Centauri empires. We might get different ambassadors. Okay, so right there you've got a way from this one event, from Sinclair dying. Suddenly you've got Sheridan straight into the mix. You've got Anna Sheridan. You've got different ambassadors coming on board, right? So suddenly things can be very different. And if you know the original show, you know that there's a kind of time loop involving the Babylon 4 station. And if Sinclair isn't there to be part of that time loop, then everything changes, right? So this would be an interesting way to basically take the storyline and really just turn everything sideways and go in a completely different direction right from the very first episode of the show. So you could actually set the show in the same universe, essentially the same universe as the previous show, except now we're going through this time loop in a different way, and we're going to experience a very different version of events just from one event, just making everything different. right from the start. Anyway, I think it's a very interesting idea. Again, I don't know if rumour is the correct term. Wishful thinking might be one term that I would use. I just thought it was an interesting idea that I'd like to share with you. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Howell. Talk to you later. Bye.